Today we're going to go ahead and we're going to practice colored pencil using it at an elevated level, not like you've used up to now for most of you. And we're going to practice 6 colored pencil techniques. So the first thing I need you to do, and you might want to pause the computer or pause the video long enough to be able to do this, I want you to put 6 squares on a page in your sketchbook. Squares should be about 2 inches each, though they don't have to be perfect. And you're going to label each of the 6. The first will be layering, the second will be burnishing, the third will be gradient, fourth will be color blending, and we'll do that with burnished the look. We'll do saturation burnishing, which is adding a neutral color, black, white, and gray. And we'll do tonal burnishing, which is burnishing but adding a similar color with a similar intensity. So stop your video and get your paper ready. When you're done, come back and pick up at this place. All right, so colored pencil is meant to be used in layers. Truly, to do it well as you get older and get more professional at it, more of an artist, you're going to layer the colored pencils. To begin with, I'm going to just pick 3 for now, 3 that I think will go well, and you could do 2 or 3. Basically, colored pencil will be added by slowly and light pressure, bringing in some color. I change the direction as I color, and you could change the paper. I probably would be doing that if I wasn't recording this, because I know I can color better side to side. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to layer in colored pencil lightly, side to side, using different strokes. Sometimes they're horizontal, sometimes they're vertical, sometimes I do curved, but it's very light pressure. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add another color. I'm going to combine some blue-green, some yellow, and some darker green. And because I want to do it so that it gradually changes, for this one I'll bring in the medium color, my third color, and I will do it 2/3 of the way over the box. Again, I'm changing direction. Again, I'm changing stroke. And then I would bring in my third color. And again, I might only do this approximately 1/3 of the box. Again, I will change my direction. Again, I will change my pencil stroke. Because I want the color to change gradually, I gradually change the pressure. This will still be a very light pressure. I will go back and forth between colors to gradually get them to mix. As I get my middle color and my darker color, I am going to cross over where the 2 meet, and I'm going to change directions to make that a gradual color change. I will go back to my original yellow and once again add another layer. And once again, I will cross over where my 2 colors meet to get that to be a gradual fade. Layering is to allow your color to change gradually. And you will find you work back and forth between your colors and change your angle where they meet, so no hard edges will remain. How many layers you add will depend on how dark you want it and how much white shows through. Because the secret or the success of colored pencil is that all the paper disappears. That is layering. Next approach we're going to use is burnishing. Burnishing is layering, but it will be the kind of pencil that is sharp and dark and shiny and glossy and waxy. This time I will only use 2 colors. I will use that middle color, that middle green, and I'll come back with the blue. With the soft layering, which I just finished, you might add up to 4 or 5 or 6 layers of color. With burnishing, you'll start with the light pressure again and gradually add layers. For burnishing, however, As long as you have heavy coverage, you can get away with 2 base coats before you start to increase your pressure. I'm now going to go in with my second color. And I'm going to change directions, making sure to cover as much white as I can. And at this point, I now go back and increase my pressure. While it is not the hardest pressure I can put on the pencil, there's definitely more effort than on the last one. I will first put on the lighter color with increased pressure. I will now go in and put on the second color with increased pressure. I am building the layers of waxy, shiny, glossy color. And now that I have a good foundation, I will go back in with my lightest color and a substantial amount of pressure. It is literally mixing or blending or connecting the color. Third technique is gradient. The gradient, it will be a color that goes from light to dark. So like layering, you'll start by layering in a base color of whatever color you're choosing. You can use the same color for all the samples you're doing. I myself like to explore color and see what they can do. Side of the pencil is a great way to add large areas of solid tone with even pressure. Gradient will change from light to dark, and the darkness changes because you begin to increase pressure. I myself use the side of the pencil to add additional layers, just like the regular layering with the soft colored pencil. Each time I add another layer, I begin to increase my pressure. And each time I only cover a section of the picture so that it's gradually beginning to build up on its own. And at the end, I will have heavy pressure, so it will look like the burnished box. And then I will go soften that on the diagonal, different directions. It should be a gradual blend, not a hard edge. That is a gradient. Color blending for burnishing is very much like layering. At this time, you'll put on 2 layers of your base colors, and then you increase the pressure after the base 2 colors. For my second color, I will do 2/3 of the box with the middle color, like I did at first. Again, I'm changing the direction of my lines. For my final color, I will do 1/3 of the box on the right, so it can change from yellow to green to blue. I'm still adding soft pressure to build up my base of color. And now I will begin to go back that I've got the base on And I'm going to start with my heavy blue, darkest on the right. I will go now to my green, and I will burnish back towards my blue, going over those edges to get this to blend. One of the things you'll find with colored pencil, especially when you burnish, is to make sure you keep a sharp tipped pencil. The second thing you're going to find is you will put the darker colors down first and then work your way to the lighter colors. And then the lighter color will be put on top and allow you to do some of the gradual value changes. A diagonal line where the two colors meet is often helpful to soften the color. And it pulls and it blends and it moves the colors together. And so now my mid-tone can meet where my yellow met, and I can go back where my blue met to get the gradual change. So the lighter of the two colors often, oops, that time I went a little too far. The beauty of it when it gets waxy is you can go back and scrape it off if it gets heavy. So that is color blending with burnishing. It is applied like layering, but in the end, it's glossy and shiny and does the color blend. All right, saturation burnishing is the same as burnishing. You'll start in layers. The first couple of layers will be just done with lightness, and then the additional layers are where we get our changes to occur, the shiny, glossy. So saturation burnishing is when you are going to take a color and change the intensity of that color. Whatever the color is, I'm changing by adding neutral colors to it. Your neutral colors would be white, black, and gray. Many of the colored pencil sets don't come with a gray, so in order for this to be successful, you would go ahead and you would combine white and black to get that mid-tone, which is gray. A perfect gray is the equal amounts of white and equal amounts of black. For this example, I'm only using one color, base, but I will make sure that I have good coverage with this before I start to make the changes. Okay, so white normally lightens the color, black normally darkens a color, and gray changes the intensity, so it's not as bright of a color. It tones that color down a bit. Saturation burnishing will change the intensity of your color. So I have my base coat on, and I would start then on the left with my white, and I'm going to go 2/3 of the way to the right to begin to add some thickness. I'm adding a decent amount of pressure, and so as I do that, it will become a lighter blue. I'm going to let up a little bit as I come to the right, so my pressure isn't as great on the middle section. Because it's going to be gray, I have to gradually add the other color to it. The other color would be black. I'm going to start with my black on the far right. Again, I'm going to layer it in slowly, and then I'll go back and increase my pressure to add to the burnishing. I would come this way about 2/3 of the way with the grip black, but it's a soft pressure to my black. And I am once again changing the direction. And I'm going to go across this with very light pressure because I do want my color to be able to fade. And now I will go back, and on this edge I will give it a lot of pressure. Now, it is beginning to lose some of my blue, so at this point I would go back and I would add a little bit more, because I don't want it to be totally gone. I just want it to be more of a shade of the color. So I'm going to go back and add some more blue. One of the things you'll find with burnishing is often when you get too dark too quick, there's no way to fix it. So if I had been really heavy with my color from the beginning, I wouldn't be able to get back in here and add some more blue to tone this down. So now I'm going to make it really black again and then let up some pressure as I move to the right. So there's your shade. In my center, it's white. I need to go back with my white now to tone this down and adjust this to get my gray color to start to emerge. The gray is happening because my black and white are mixing. And again, I go across on a diagonal. I have a section in here where the blue is too dark. It's too blue. So I'm going to go back and add just a little bit more light black in there to be able to get me my gray. And once again, I will go here, and then I will go over this edge with my white to make that change. And I find when you have an edge like that, sometimes if you do the round circular movement, it gets it to move around easier. And then once again, I would go back. Sometimes you have to clean off the tip of the pencil if the white's gone. It's picked up the color below it. And there is my saturation square, where it goes from light to medium to dark. The final one is a tonal burnishing, which is very similar to what we just did, but this time you're going to pick two colors that are similar in intensity and similar in color. I would not want to pick a color that isn't in the same color family. So this time I'm going to take orange and pink. Neither one is too light, neither one is too dark. If I was using a light color, I need to have a light partner. If I'm using a dark color, I need a dark partner. But I'm taking middle range ones here. This time I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to once again start with your layers. Two well built up layers with colors works best when you're doing burnishing, to have a base coat before you start to incorporate your pressure to make it shiny and waxy. Both of these colors are mid-tone colors, so they work well together. Both of them are part of the warm family. Both of them are close to each other on the color wheel, so they're a perfect pairing. We won't get any ugly brown when we mix them up. I then begin to increase the pressure on the colors. And then to make this example different, to show you how this works, I now would come in with my other color, again with some pressure, and begin to get that burnished feel to the artwork. This allows you just to have a little bit more change, but not to make it toned down, to just allow you to do a color change. I can make the whole thing the same. I can have it gradiate from dark to light. I always want to end up with the lightest color to finish it out, so it will stand out from the darker color. If you were to put this down and then go on top of it with a darker color, the darker color would hide your light. So at the end, the last one you should be putting on is the lightest color. And that will do the most movement and the most change on your thing. And I'm not going to bring pink everywhere. I'll let it change and gradient from pink to orange. So those are the 6 color blending techniques you should become familiar with. Most of the ones you will use on your project will involve burnishing, but will allow you to do some gradient and some layering.